We're taking a look at the inside workings of the World Wide Web and the Internet. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're on the former Myrtle Beach Air Force Base at the Fox 43 studio. We're focused on the Internet and the World Wide Web. And we're visiting with Mike Boyer, the General Manager of Dimensional Marketing. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Incredible opportunity all week to highlight the Internet and the web and to try to demystify what so many folks get confused about when they think of the web. Let's talk real quick about Dimensional Marketing. Is that a company that's been here in the Myrtle Beach area for a long time?
Yeah, we've been here for 12 years. We started out, as the name says, as a marketing company and have kind of changed into a computer reseller, primarily focused on the federal government.
Okay. Real quick about yourself. I'm sorry, are you originally from the area?
No, I'm actually from Ohio originally, but I've been here 20 years now, so I consider myself a local.
Is that right? What brought you to the area?
Actually, I came to go to Coastal Carolina.
And you were graduated there in the 80s?
Mm-hmm.
Aha. Not to date you there. Accusing, right? Getting into governmental contracts with DMI, that changed the focus dramatically, I guess, at some level from marketing. Do you still do a good bit of marketing?
We do, based on the Internet. That's the SayNet side of our business that we do on the local side of the business, providing networking, web design. We're actually an ISP, Internet Service Provider also.
Okay. And how exactly and DMI was founded what year?
In 1986.
In 86, and it got its start with some local owners, or the owners from out of the area?
Actually, it started in Raleigh, is where we were incorporated, and one of the owners retired down here and brought the business here.
Okay.
And then I started in 90, and that's when we really focused on the government business.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, the government business is the big focus now. You said y'all are also an ISP. Any other services that DMI provides?
The big thing that now is out there is local businesses doing networking. We do wireless networking, hardware sales, again, web design, and hosting of websites also.
Okay. And obviously all week we're trying to demystify the web, and so acronyms like ISP may be something that some viewers, the bulk of our viewers are in the PD and in southeastern North Carolina, obviously down here on the Strand as well. Can you give the viewers real quick the definition of ISP?
ISP is Internet Service Provider, and there's a number of them out there. There's dial-up services is one of them that you'll see. That's where you'd use a normal phone line. There's cable modems. There's DSL that's being provided by the phone companies. The last two being high-speed Internet.
Okay. And you mentioned say.net. When did it begin, and what exactly does it provide? Is it the ISP side of...
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. It's basically what it does is host websites. That's the local side of our business. Primarily we're focused in that market of doing the networking, web hosting, again, web design, all that with the SayNet side of the business.
Okay, great. Let's talk real quick a little more about the Internet. When we think about when you first got involved with the Internet versus how the Internet is transformed up to today, can we talk about that transformation?
Sure. It started, I think, as a toy for most people. It was kind of a cool way to connect to your friends and send jokes and everything else. And now it's really evolved where it's a necessity in a business that you have to have it. We do business with a number of doctors' offices that the only way that they can file an insurance claim is on the Internet. Lawyers getting rid of their entire law libraries and doing all their research online. So it's really become a necessity versus a luxury.
Right. Obviously, folks still use it as that luxury, communicating together, but the ability to use it for work is...
Absolutely. I think that's the big difference is you have to have it. It's kind of like having a fax machine. 20 years ago, it was a luxury to have a fax machine. Now you have to have one.
Right. How does Mike Boyer personally use the Internet?
Personally, I do my banking. I do, with the holidays just here, do your shopping on there. I do a ton of that. And, I love a bargain. So trying to find the best deal on whether I'm buying golf clubs or sunglasses or whatever it is you're trying to purchase.
Mm-hmm. And you talk about buying online, shopping online. That brings up a question about security risk. And maybe you could talk a little bit for the viewers who may feel uncomfortable shopping online about some of the security risks that are inherent and maybe some ways to get around that or ways to calm somebody's concerns down.
Everyone's worried about giving their credit card number and their credit card number being on the internet. I think one of the main things is when you shop on the internet, make sure that you're using a VeriSign certified website, because that's the company that basically certifies that that is a secure website. If you're using that, you really don't have anything to worry about. I wouldn't give my credit card number out on the internet to email. I wouldn't use that. But VeriSign, as long as it's one of those websites, it's very secure.
Mike, how would a viewer know if it's a VeriSign approved website?
VeriSign's very good about putting their logo at the bottom of it. There's a large check mark, and it always, when you get to that point, to enter the credit card, it'll always give you, you're now entering a secure area. Right. Check yes, move along.
Okay. And, we think about the security on shopping, and that's a real concern oftentimes. And you've pointed out, if folks can check to make sure it's VeriSign approved, they're in good shape. What about emails from friends or family? Sometimes there's concerns about opening a certain attachment or being fearful of opening a certain attachment. What are things to look out for there?
With attachments, you don't want to open anything that has a text file or a exe file that's attached at the end of it. When you click on the little paperclip, you'll see exe at the end of it. That's an executable file, and what that can do is enter your computer and allow the virus to come in. Then what happens is it'll replicate to everyone in your address book. So people will get emails from you, you won't even realize that you sent those emails, and that's how the virus, as you saw in the news, the Melissa virus and the I love you virus, they can be in millions and millions of computers within hours.
Golly, Mike. That's amazing just to think about it. The fear of the potential fear of that. What are there virus checks or ways to?
Absolutely. There's many virus programs out there. You must have those on there, and you must keep them updated. Those viruses come out every day. Hundreds and hundreds come out every day. Mm-hmm. Some of the big ones that are out there are Norton and McAfee. You can buy them online. You can purchase them at any of the local stores.
Right. Good. One of the other big fears, obviously a lot of our viewers are parents, and a lot of, obviously there are a lot of folks in general that are parents that are concerned about another aspect of the internet, pornography, which is oftentimes a real fear. Are there ways to get around giving your children access to pornography? Are there ways to keep away from that?
Absolutely. You can restrict the websites that you want them to go to as part of the program. You can do it that way, and the main thing is be involved with what they're looking at. The web can be a scary place. There's a ton of information out there that you may not want those kind of your children to see. Definitely be involved with what they do, and as part of Internet Explorer or Netscape, you can restrict the sites that they can go to.
And when you speak of that, Internet Explorer, Netscape, those are examples of
Internet browsers.
Okay.
Those is the tool that you use to get on the internet, view it, send email, everything that you need to do pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Mike, how would you describe the impact, if you think about the impact of the internet on society and on the Grand Strand or the PD or southeastern North Carolina, how would you describe that impact on our region and on our world?
Regionally, it's, I think, opening us up to the world, that not only can people use it to get travel to this area. Obviously, it's a big area for tourism. A lot of people that probably wouldn't have considered coming here now can look at a website, see, make reservations, get tee times. They can plan their entire trip in January in Ohio for when they want to come down in April.
Right.
So I think locally that's the big benefit. Education-wise, I think it leaves kids where they can look at, vice versa. They can look at other things. They can look at what's going on at a ski resort, or they can look at a law library in Washington, D.C. if they want to, without ever leaving their home or school.
That's a great point. Let's talk a little more about the impact the Internet's had on education. I want to talk a little bit about healthcare, but on education. That's such an important aspect of so many of our lives. I was looking at a property tax bill yesterday a car tax bill and thinking about how much of that goes to our educational system in Horry County or in the PD or throughout North Carolina. It's amazing. What about the impact the Internet's had on education?
We're actually, E-rate, I don't know if you're familiar with it.
No.
E-rate is actually the federal government. If you look at your phone bill, and at the end of it, you'll see the junk fees, we always call them at the bottom of it. Those fees actually go to allow the backbone of the Internet, which are routers, cabling, everything that you would need to get it to the individual rooms in a school, library, or hospital. That's what those junk fees that we call them go to. Those are E-rate funds.
Wow.
And E-rate they spend $8 billion a year in the U.S.
E-rate.
E-rate. It's
Huh.
it's just started. I'm assuming it's been out there about 4 years. It's very exciting because that even locally, I know the Horry County Library just purchased about 15 Cisco routers to get those libraries on the Internet and get high-speed access there.
Okay. Golly.
So even if you don't have a computer, you can go to the library. Anyone can go to the library, check email, get on the Internet, whatever they want to do.
Let's talk real quick. I wanted to ask about healthcare, the impacts the Internet's had on healthcare, and then maybe we can talk a little bit about, we've got a few minutes, talk about job opportunities online. How about the impact the Internet's had on healthcare?
Healthcare, I think it's really twofold. One, the doctors that are out there have the ability to go to the Internet, compare notes if they have something odd, something different. We actually developed for a local doctor a laptop, microscope, and digital camera. So if they see something odd, they can actually take a sample of it, email it, and instead of having to wait a week or 2 weeks for a sample to come back, they can know within 5 minutes.
And this is something DMI. This is something your company has developed for a doctor. That's amazing.
One thing that we try to do is provide solutions for customers. And we had a customer that came, said, here's the problem that I'm having. What kind of solution can we come up with? So I think that's one thing that as a company we're good at.
That's great. Are there job opportunities for folks who want to get into web business?
I think the great thing about it is if you have a computer and you have an idea, you can come up with a website, be able to sell it, talk about your idea, talk about your views. The Internet is not at the point where it has to be regulated yet. So anybody that has an idea can put it out there. That's the good thing about it. The bad thing is anybody can put an idea out there, so there's no basis that it's a true fact. But if you want to start a business, the Internet's a great place to do it. You don't have a lot of overhead. You don't have to have any inventory. It's a great place to do it.
And any advancements or changes we'll see in the future with the Internet?
Some of the big things I think that are coming out, it's voice over IP, which basically you can make long-distance phone calls over the Internet for free. It's out there now if you have high-speed Internet. Actually broadcasting television signal over the Internet is going to be the next thing that's big that's out there.
We're visiting with Mike Boyer, General Manager of Dimensional Marketing. Mike, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me, Greg.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're on the former Myrtle Beach Air Force Base at the Fox 43 studio. We're focused on the Internet and the World Wide Web, and we're visiting with Jason Carman, the IS Manager for Say.net and Dimensional Marketing. Jason, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Greg, thanks for having me.
Incredible opportunity to highlight the Internet and the web and try to demystify what so many folks think of as a real difficult issue at times, but something really exciting that they want to learn more about. Can we talk real quick about yourself? Are you originally from the area?
Actually, no. I'm originally from a town called Douglasville, Pennsylvania. It's about an hour west of Philadelphia. Moved down here about 7 years ago. Pretty much after a few big snowstorms, I decided I was really sick of the cold weather and came down here and have loved it ever since.
You've probably gotten quite a few big snowstorms growing up there.
More than I'd like to mention.
I'm sure. And you've been with Say.net and Dimensional Marketing for how long?
It'll be 5 years in March.
Is that right?
So I started directly out of college. I went to college down here at Coastal Carolina University. A couple months before I graduated, I started as an intern over there and have been with them ever since.
And I said in introducing you that you're the IS manager. What exactly is an IS manager?
Well, the IS stands for Information Systems. It's pretty much just a fancy way of saying I work on the networking, the computers, pretty much everything involved with keeping the PCs and everything running.
Okay. When did you first become interested in working with computers?
I'd say probably around 1994. I just started into college. I originally wanted to be a teacher, then I realized I didn't want to be a teacher. Then after that, I just had to take a couple classes involving computers. I really enjoyed them. I realized there was a great potential for a future in the field, and just kind of everything went from there.
That's great. Let's talk real quick about Say.net. When did it begin, and what exactly does it provide?
SayNet started around 1996. What happened is the company, Dimensional Marketing, our parent company, they needed an outlet to the Internet, and they realized a great potential to help people around the area get on through dial-up to a reliable service. We noticed there was a lot of problems at that time with people. They had the service, but they were trying to dial in, and they were getting busy signals, or it was too busy, and things like that. So we decided it would be a great opportunity for us as a small company to get a service that was reliable and efficient, and that they could always get on no matter what. And everything started from there.
They could always get on no matter what.
Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's a big issue for so many folks if they're not on cable modems or. When you say get on without worrying, what would that mean exactly?
Pretty much the biggest problem when you're talking about dial-up is like, say you're using AOL or MSN, you dial up and you get a busy signal, and the busy signal lasts for an hour. So you just need to get online, you want to send an email, you need to check something on the web. Next thing you know, you're getting the busy signal, nothing's going through. With our service, we keep it small enough that it's never at a point where our servers are at capacity, so everyone can always get online. There are always exceptions to that rule. I shouldn't say always. If there's a hurricane, things get knocked out, stuff like that. But about 99% of the time, our service is up and running and ready to go.
That's fantastic. And SayNet is, am I correct in that Dimensional Marketing and SayNet have some tie to the backbone of the Internet?
Yes, we do. We are plugged in on what we call a T1. That's set up directly through the phone company, and that is exactly the backbone to the Internet. That's what all Internet service providers use, either a T1 or a T3. That's the technical term that gets you out to the Internet.
Right. And so that's pretty rare for the area.
I wouldn't say pretty rare anymore. As things have started to progress, a few years ago when we had it, it was very rare. Now, as things are progressing, companies are starting to realize they need the high speed. They can't get by on dial-up anymore. More and more are getting them.
Mm-hmm. Jason, where did the Internet come from?
It originally started with the government, an organization called DARPA. They created it to connect a series of networks together for the government in a secure method where they wouldn't have to use telephones or anything like that. Everything could be done through data. And from there, they just decided to progress it along so that everyone could use it. And as everything went along, it just snowballed and eventually grew into what it is today.
Right. And you say so everyone can use it. Within our viewing area, we serve about a 10-county market in southeastern North Carolina, the PD and the Strand area. Can anyone in that area get on the Internet?
I wouldn't say anyone. The big thing is first off, you need a computer.
Right.
But if you have a computer, the other thing you need is some type of gateway to the Internet, whether it's a dial-up, whether it's cable modem, whether it's DSL. The biggest problem in some areas is where they're dialing in from, there's no dial-up service, or it's outside of the designated range, so they get charged that extended area service, which you don't want to be charged 2 or 3 cents a minute while you're online. It can get real expensive real fast. If there's a service in the area, anybody can get online. Okay. And I don't know of many areas around that don't actually have some service.
Right. I'm sure a lot of viewers have heard, either they saw that movie with Tom Hanks, the You've Got Mail, or have heard about AOL. What exactly is AOL, and do people have to use AOL to get on the Internet?
AOL is actually America Online. They're one of the first and the largest Internet service provider companies. People don't have to use AOL. They can use any type of service provider they want. We're SayNet. We're an Internet service provider. There's MSN, Juno, NetZero, Earthlink, and then there's also AOL. And then there's also hundreds of other ones that are local to smaller areas. AOL is the biggest one because they have their own little software package they give you with their service that you can use to get online. It's very user-friendly, very easy to use, and it also has a lot of nice features like instant messenger, where you can get online and you can actually chat live with other people who are on AOL. Just typing in, going right back and forth. You don't, like I said, you don't have to use AOL, but it's actually the one that's most widely used just because of its ease of use.
Right. And if you said SayNet, if I had that computer, if I had that access to the Internet, whether it's dial-up or a cable modem, I would just type in say.net Is that right? Or say, how does that work?
With all internet service providers, there is a little bit of setup done on the machine. All Windows programs come with a little software that actually dials out for you. You have to configure that software to dial into our service. Okay. Then once you're connected, you're on the web. You can type www.say.net and get there, or you can type any web address, whether you want to go to Yahoo or Amazon or eBay or anything like that. Right. But there is some configuration. That's the same with all the high-speed internet accesses too, whether you use a cable modem or DSL. There is some configuration that needs to be done to the machine, which is usually either done by a technician on-site through the company, or in our case, and a lot of cases, we do everything over the phone with the customer right then. Mm-hmm. So if you call us up, within 10 minutes, we can have you online and running.
Mm. What's that like when someone comes in and they've never had a website, they just have a business idea? Obviously, Mike Boyer was on a second ago talking about anyone who's got a great idea, or an idea. Mm-hmm. They may think it's a great idea, they just want to get it out there. What's that like when someone comes in and they're asking, I mean, what's an example of someone coming in with a great idea, let's say for an online travel agency? How do you break things down for them?
Pretty much what we do is the first thing to do is you just sit down and talk with them, figure out exactly what they want and exactly what they're looking for. A lot of websites get created without a good idea or plan of what they want is. What eventually we try to do is get them to figure out exactly what they want and exactly everything they want on their website. Then what we do is pretty much go through a little list. It's almost like drawing out like television advertisement. You draw everything out for them, show them a little sketch of what it could be, see what they like, and get all the information online.
Mm-hmm. And obviously you and Mike both talk about the ability to have a website. Why would I want a website? I mean, what is that going to do for me?
Anymore, it used to be a website was a novelty item. You know, it was great to have. It would give some information and everything like that. But anymore, it's almost a necessity. Why you would want to have a website is mainly this. Whereas it used to be the only way to get things out to people was to have a TV advertisement or a print advertisement. Mm-hmm. Now you can have a smaller print advertisement pointing them to your web page and have your web page as the big advertisement. Mm-hmm. The cost of a website is very small. It's usually a one-time creation and a monthly fee. You can have 100 different pages of information about your company for a very small fee, and then anybody who needs any type of information can go to the website and get it. One example, around town, we do a few websites for a couple of hotels. Mm-hmm. At the beginning of the year, they have their entire rate page. Well, instead of sending that entire rate page out to everyone, they can just point them to the website. They can see all the rates. They can book online. They can do everything like that. The good thing is, too, if you print out that rate page at the beginning of the year and you send it out, well, say in the middle of the year you have to change your rates. Right. Well, with the website, all you do is go up to the website, change your rates. Next thing you know, everything's changed, so people, at the end of the year are getting the proper rates, whereas opposed if you send out a flyer at the end of the year, they could be getting wrong rates, then you got to tell them on the phone, well, that's not our rate anymore, and
right.
You can get a few people upset.
Oh, I'm sure. That's a great point. So the goal now for many of the hotels or other operators on the Strand would be just to point potential visitors to their website.
Exactly. And like I said, it's a great medium for not just hotels, but any company that if you have a product that's rapidly changing, and you can't print out 10,000 copies of something when you know 2 weeks from now the prices are going to change or the system modifications are going to change. Whereas you have a website, you just point them to the website. Every couple of weeks you can send out an email to them saying, hey, we've got some new features, we've got some new items, here they are, here's the new pricing. Hey, we're having a big discount sale this week. For the next 6 days, this is what our prices are going to be. It's a great way that you can just get everything out there quick, fast, and easy.
This sounds so exciting. I want a website. This is great.
Well, we can definitely get one for you.
Yeah. And you're involved in the design of websites, Jason?
I do some design. Mm-hmm. And I'm more of the trying to figure out exactly what the people want. We also have other people who I can do the web design. Mm-hmm. We also outsource to a couple different companies. The biggest thing with web design anymore is, whereas it used to be you'd have to be a true web designer to create your website, you'd have to know the code, you'd have to know all that. Anymore, a lot of people are actually actively creating their own websites. There's software called Front Page where they can create their own website at home, email it to me or FTP, which is a file transfer, up to our server, so they can make their own changes at home at any time, send it up to the web, and then everything's set. That way, instead of needing me at like 8 o'clock at night, they decide they want to change their pricing, they can do everything themselves, send it up, and their website's changed.
Mm-hmm. Golly, you make it sound so easy.
I make it sound easy, but at times it can be difficult.
Right, I'm sure. What would be two of the more difficult parts of having a web business?
The first is if you're trying to take credit cards online. As Mike talked about, VeriSign is very important to have there. and you want to make sure that everything's secure. The last thing you want to do is have a website with credit cards where the site's not secure, somebody hacks in and gets all your credit card numbers. The second biggest problem then is, as simple as it sounds, is figuring out what you want. Because you can put so many different things on there, a lot of people just decide they want to put everything up there right on the front page, and what happens is they create a site that's so cluttered and confusing that people get to it, and it takes a long time to load, and they don't know what's going on, and then they get confused and they decide, well, I'm not going to come back here because this site is a little bit too in-depth.
Right.
The biggest thing is to try to keep it simple on the front page. You can have a lot of information, but to keep it in a format that's readable and that's user-friendly.
I'm glad you mentioned the word hackers. How would a viewer go about protecting their website from hackers? Is there a way to do it?
Yes. The user themselves usually wouldn't protect from hackers. What would happen is the web hosting company, which is SayNet, or whoever they're using to host the company, would have the protection from hackers. One thing they can do themselves is usually if they have a username and password to get into their website, they have to keep that secure. Most everything else is done on our end. We have hardware and software, firewalls and other type of things like that to keep the site secure so nobody can get into it.
Lastly, Jason, I want to ask real quick about keeping some key qualities to keep an internet business real.
The biggest thing is to keep it updated. If you have a website that's great, that starts out, if it stays exactly the same, even though the information might be proper, what will happen is a person will go, after 2 months, well, it's the same site. I know what information they have. I don't really need to keep coming back here because it never changes. So I would recommend keeping it updated. Doesn't matter if it's just small changes, even if it's just a small little thing at the top every couple weeks. It's something that the person will go, oh, it's Thursday. They always change their website on Thursday. I'll go back to the site. Then when they're back there, they realize, I forgot about that. There's a new computer thing I want. I think I'll go get that today.
Right.
It's just a way to keep everything updated so people will come back to the site.
You heard Jason say it. Keep your website updated. Jason Carman, say.net, Dimensional Marketing. Jason, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Greg, for having me.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. We want to thank Dimensional Marketing, IntelliStrand, Bear Swamp Lumber Company, the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce, and Burroughs and Chapin for helping us explore the World Wide Web.